Hi all, so in this video we are going to see some of the best practices of a process model. So for that I have created a very simple process model. Okay, so we will see one by one what are the best practices of a process model. First of all, when any process model we create, the first best practice you can see is something like annotations are there. So we can add annotations here. So what does this process model actually does? So this is very important, so that when any new people or any new developer will come, or a support executive, they will know what this process does. So this process is to show best practices of process model. So my first I will note it down as well for you. Okay, so best practices. So let's see the best practices of process model. So the first best practice that we have seen is proper annotations. Proper annotations should be used, so that okay, so first we have seen proper annotations, we have given a proper annotation as well. Next we will see, we will go to the properties tab. Okay, this is called the property. You can go from here or from file, and you can go from properties as well. So in this way, here if you see here, the process display name is there. So when you will actually trigger the process, what instance name you will get. Okay, let me just publish the process model for now. Okay, let's go back to monitoring, and if I start this process for debugging, okay, there is nothing in this process. Okay, so it has just started. So if I go to the process activity here, and we'll see what is the name it has came with the name of YSPM, means process model best practices. So this name should be dynamic for each and every one. So how to make it dynamic? So we'll go back to the properties. Let's here go to the expression, and here we will add it process model best practice, and okay, so we'll use here. Okay, then let's write triggered. Let's write something like triggered by, and suppose it is triggered by me, so I will take a function like user function, and in that I will take logged in user, and here I will take my first name. So it will say it is now triggered by Vikas Kumar. So this is how we can make the process display name dynamic. Let us just publish the process model, and let's also debug it. So now if I refresh it, so if you see here, logged in user is what? Appian. It is automatically saying here in the process properties as well. So this is how you can what you can say, you can make this process model as dynamic. So second point we will write is process display name should be dynamic. So this is our second point. Okay, so that we will know, so that we will for what this purpose this instance has been triggered. Okay, because the same process model can be triggered for different instances. Second, we will see, now we will come back to our process properties. We'll go back to the process properties once again, and here if you see here, process display name we have given, and there are alerts and data management. So by default, if you see here, data management is using default setting. Okay, and here as well, in this tab you can see here, if I click on right click and validate it, it will see this process model uses system default for alerts. Alerts should be sent to application specific group. Okay, so alerts and the data management should not be system default. So if you want to save some memory, so if it is a parent process, delete after 1 day. If it is a sub process, delete after 0 days. So this is what. So once this process, for example, if I keep it 0 day, okay, and if I publish the process model again, okay, and let's debug this process. So let's start this process for debugging. If I dig, so if you can see the error, this process does not exist. Why? Because I have kept it data management 0 days. So as long as the process is triggered, it is getting deleted as well. but if I keep it 1 day, then this error won't show at all. So let's go back to the process data management, and here we'll keep it 1 day. Okay, and let's publish the process model again. Okay, and let's start the process for debugging, and here you can see the instance. Okay, so if it is 1 day, so third point is data management. So db management MANAGE. Okay, so db management is what? So it is kept 1 day. 1 day if it is let's see, if you have a parent process, generally that's what is preferred, and you can keep it as well 0 day. So 0 day, so generally for sub process 0 days are kept, so you can say the same thing. Okay, so that is done. Now the alerts. Okay, so now let's go back to the data management is done. Now we will go back to the alerts. So in the alerts, you can see here as well the system default setting is there. So you can click on the custom error, and it should go to, if you have some groups already defined, it should go to, like if I select this, and it should go to what, YS administrator. So all the alerts will go to the administrator. If any process has encountered anything or that, so these alerts will be gone to the administrators. Okay, so in the alerts tab we will see that proper groups should be defined, so that the correct team has the visibility over it. Okay, so the correct team has the visibility over it. So alerts is done. Let's see our fifth best practice for process model. Okay, and our fifth best practice for process model will be our swim lanes. Okay, so here you can see different swim lanes are there. For example, generally some process is what some user has initiated it, so generally it is kept as a initiator lane. For example, initiator, so you can name it as initiator lane, and second one you can name it as something as manager lane. So manager lane will have the manager level of setting, initiator will have. How we can give the setting? So you can go to the assignment, and you can choose this box who this task will be assigned to. Here the task will be, for example, the assigned to the process initiator. Okay, and this manager lane, or let's suppose this process will assign to the managers. So suppose managers are my administrators, so YS administrators I have put. Okay, so now whatever the task will come, so they will be assigned to this one. Okay, and about the user input task as well, we can keep it. Okay, so let's connect our node from here. Okay, so here you can see it is now. So initiator will do that. If they cancel the process, then it is this way, otherwise it should go to this. So we can add some XOR gate as well. So here it's better to add some XOR gate, and for example, if the user cancelled, then it will go to this path. If the user did not cancel, then it will come to this path. Okay, fine. So this is one of the important parameters. So swim lanes should be properly configured. Okay, so proper, so we can write proper swim lanes. Proper swim lanes should be configured. Okay, so that now each team or each whatever the stakeholders are there, they will have the correct visibility over the task. So initiator can only initiate, and manager can only approve it. Okay, now our next practice will be activity chaining. So if you see here, suppose I have one user input task here. Okay, and if I click on the user input task, so let's connect with this user input task only. So let's do everything in this lane only. So if I go to this user input task, let us connect this to this one. Okay, come on, connect. So it is now connected, and if I copy this, Okay, and if I paste it, so between each user input task, you can see here, so this is also user input task, you can say here it is 1, and this is the user input task, you can say 2. Okay, it is bold, yeah. So between two tasks, activity chain, there should be activity chain should be used, so that they can easily navigate from one task to another task. Okay, so we can write the 6 point here as activity chaining should be used, okay, should be used, okay, to navigate to other UIs or other tasks. You can say business user can do without leaving the you can add one more line like without leaving the screen, so they don't have to leave the screen again and go back and click on the tasks again. So that is one advantage of here. So here as well, like so here as well, let's try to let's remove the activity chaining, and I will show you how it actually does. So disable the activity chaining from here. Let's go to the save and publish it. Let's see how, okay, and we'll go back to the process. So this user input task is there, okay, and there is actually nothing configured here, so it won't show anything. Okay, so if I click on OK, so you can see here again this model is completed, and again another task is assigned to me, and again I have to go back and do this task as well. So this is avoided in activity chaining. Again I have to click on go. So let's do one thing with the help of the tempo as well. I will show you here. So okay, so this process model will cancel from here. Okay, so now let's trigger the process once again, start the process for debugging, and here we will get some task. So here the process has been started. One task we have got, it is user input task 1. User will what? User will perform all the actions. They will click on OK, and again you can see again one task is created for another user. Okay, so this to avoid this, so that they will not leave the screen and come back to the task again. So for this we will use the activity chaining. So let's now chain these nodes together. Okay, let's chain these nodes together and we'll publish it. Okay, and now we will click on debugging. So this time what, we will again go back to the task. Okay, and if we go back to task user input task 1, so if you see here, one time we will click on OK, and again see here again we have to click on OK, and finally this task will get completed. So you can see here in one go only we complete both the tasks. So this is the usefulness of activity chaining. Okay, so let's move on to our next best practice, that is okay, in our process. So let's go to, in our process at least one terminate node should be there. Okay, so it is an end node, and there is one another called terminate node. So at least one terminate node should be present in our process. So why it is so, let's try to see that. Okay, so let's delete it, and let's add some script task here. Okay, let's add the script task here, and let's copy the script task. We'll paste it, we'll paste it, we'll paste it. So this script task, this many I have added just to add some delay to the process. Okay, so this script task I have just created to add a delay, so that we can see how the process will actually work in this. Okay, let's make it, yeah, line is visible now. Okay, so all these are there, and in our what we will do here is, here we will add an AND gate, so that we can split the path. So here we have just added an AND gate, and here as well we'll copy this script task here, and we'll connect this to this, and here as well will connect it. So obviously, like if I trigger this process model, this will take a bit of more time, because for script task it has to execute, and it has to only execute one script task. Okay, instead of this one, what we will do is we'll take another end node. Okay, end event, and let's connect this end event to this end event. So now let's publish our process model. Okay, and we'll see how does this process behaves. Okay, so now everything has been cleared. Okay, so now let's start the process for debugging. So if you see here, both the process have been completed. Obviously it has taken more, so here we can't see the difference, but let's see the difference now. So what we will do is we'll disable the activity chainings for this that are not needed. Okay, and after disabling it, okay, so here we will make this node as a terminate event, terminate process. Okay, so and here we will do this same thing. We will disable the activity chainings. Let us disable here as well, and only one is now left. Yeah, so now let's, so what it will do, let's try to see it. So let's try to debug the process once again. You can see that in our terminate node, it has reached, the process has reached the terminate node. These nodes are yet to be completed, but these are not completed. Why? Because terminate node completed first. So this is the advantage of a terminate node. Because if there are multiple end nodes, you can see the previous process has been that both the process were completed, because even though were delayed, so it was completed much faster, it was completed a bit late, but still here you can see actually only 2 tasks got completed and it got completed. So this is the advantage of a terminate node. So at least, or there is only one terminate node, so one terminate event must be used. Okay, so this is the advantage, one terminate event must be used, okay, to stop all the flows of the process. So this is one of the advantage of that. Let's move to another advantage, and that is a very very good advantage. So if I go back to my object, if I go to the properties, security of this process model, so in the security we can see currently I have a administrator access and a viewer access, but in the real time environment, business user don't need viewer access, they just need initiator access. Viewer access means they can view the process model, but they can't see any backend data, so that is not needed. So any business accounts we have configured, so that should be given into a initiator. For example, let's create a group like approved task group we have created. In that parent group will be what, ys, let's okay, or let's ys. In that, okay, ys all users parent group will be, and everything is fine. And okay, so let's add something as myself, because manager has been added. Let's create it. Okay, so this group should have initiator, so business user group, so business users can be added in the group, and those should have initiator access, then only they can start any journey. So business users, business users should have at least initiator level of access, so that they can start any process model. So so that they can start any journey, you can say, not the process model. Okay, so any journey they need at least the initiator level of privilege should be given to them. So that was about this. So that's all best practices that I am aware about. There are some other best practices as well. For example, if you are using any user input task, similarly any user input task is there, so that should also have a dynamic name. Okay, so you can see here in the forms or in the general, you can see one is the name and one is a task display name. So if user get user this input task, then they won't be able to see or differentiate between different tasks. So this task name should be different. Okay, so similarly we can add others as well. So that's all in this video. Thank you all.